Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Typical Skeptic Podcast. I'm really excited to have my guest on with me today. I really always love his research. He always comes out with like the most cutting edge research, like on the fields of like consciousness. I truly feel, and who I'm talking about is Saul Luckman. Saul is an amazing author. He's written amazing books. He's a researcher. He's a podcaster. He has a Substack. He has a really amazing Substack, and I consider him a friend as well. And yeah, and we if you don't know this, me and Saul have done maybe three podcasts together. I met Saul when I was listening to Archaics before, and it just developed where we started doing podcasts, and now we've done like three podcasts, I think, or maybe four. And yeah, I'm always glad to have him back on the show. Saul, thanks. Oh, and today we're going to be discussing Saul's new book. It's called Get Out of Here Alive, and it deals with inner alchemy and immortality. And with all that said, I'd like to give him a big warm welcome back to the show. Saul, thanks so much for coming back on. How are you?
I'm good, Rob. Thanks for having me. It's really good to connect with you again. I've been watching the growth of your channel, and that's a very exciting development. So congratulations.
Oh yeah, I'm dealing with being suspended right now. It's I think I told you about that. It's crazy. Like they tried taking my whole. Well, I better not. I'm gonna put this on YouTube, so I'll tell you after. I'll tell you after.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I got that there was some backstory. I saw a Facebook post that you did on that, and I mean, yeah. Let's
Yeah,
steer clear of that. Just acknowledging that high weirdness is afoot on some of these platforms.
yeah, I agree. Right? Yeah, it's almost like you gotta build your own. Yeah. But anyway, so the new book, Get Out of Here Alive. Tell people about this concept and like what are we gonna be getting into today?
Well, the book is really divided unofficially into two parts. The first part of the book, the first half or a little bit more, is really a a guide, a self-help guide, an inspirational manual for people wanting to simplify their lives, digital detox, pull away, get back to basics, get in touch with themselves, their inner voice, with nature, all these types of things that allow people to think more clearly and to build up their energy by not doing some of the things they've been doing that have been taking away their energy, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
So in shamanic parlance, you would say these are not doings. A lot of these are not doings. There are also some doings having to do with movement and that kind of thing. Um, so that first half of the book is truly for anybody who wants to have a better lifestyle or better quality of life, I should say, and who wants to experience better health, better mental health, that sort of thing. The second part of the book is really the deep energy work part of the book where I go into inner alchemy concepts having to do with creating much more personal power and ultimately working towards building up enough personal power that you can actually inside your body create what has been called the philosopher's stone, which is in this case, not some kind of rock that you hold in your hand, but rather a kind of multi-dimensional focus of energy that's extremely powerful. It's located down in your sort of Dantian solar plexus area behind your belly button. In women, it's really the entire womb. And you build up this energy, and there's very specific techniques for packing the energy, packing it down, packing it down, packing it down until this philosopher's stone begins to create itself. And then you're off to the races with the possibilities, which can include longevity, but also even beyond longevity. My little tagline for the book on the back cover reads, "Longevity is overrated, live forever instead."
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because like longevity, you're gonna get old and pass away. But like, if you live forever, and if somebody could really reach certain states of immortality, which it sounds like people have. I've heard about yogis just like supposedly disappearing and stuff like that. And I mean, do you think it's a possibility?
I really, really do. I think this is why we have people in our community, if you want to look at it that way, who, firmly believe in people like Saint Germain. And there's a lot of information that person might very well have existed or still be around. And that would totally fit the description of an alchemist who has, if not achieved immortality, has greatly extended his or her life, the lifespan. So
Yeah,
that's really what we're talking about here. The idea that the limits that we think are part of the human condition are only that to the degree that we accept those limits. We can endeavor to go beyond them. And I'm not saying this is a done deal or a sure thing or anything like that because it's highly individualized. How how much time and effort do you put into this endeavor? I mean, that's a really big question. What are your natural proclivities? How old are you? What kind of health are you in when you start out and that kind of thing? Because it takes a very long time to build up enough energy to do what we're talking about here. But in the meantime, you have this surplus of energy that you can use for health, for manifestation, for abundance and miracles in your life.
that's amazing. Well, how do we start building up this energy? Would you say like something like qigong would be a good something for like that? Would you say?
Yeah, I mean, certainly Qigong has a whole inner alchemy component where you're pooling. I mean, your Qigong itself is about pooling qi or this kind of energy. And then there is a sexual inner alchemy aspect to that work as well, where you can build sort of tantrically build the energy in your body. That's really not what I'm talking about so much in this book, although it's very much in alignment with it. I'm actually talking about a couple of techniques specifically. One is shamanic recapitulation, where you basically go back to wounds in your past, traumas, and you take back the energy that you gave away. So you have all these kind of like open wounds that are still bleeding your energy, even though you think it's behind you. It's not really behind you because time is completely illusory. It's still very much present in your energy body. And you through this act of recapitulation, you can heal those wounds. You can stop the bleeding and begin to heal and take back your energy. You can also give energy back to other people who have that I mean, you can give them back the energy that you took from them, maybe inadvertently, but this happens all the time because we are, like pinballs running into each other constantly. So that's one technique that I recommend. And it's a powerful technique, but there's one that's a lot more powerful, and it has to do with the purposeful creation of the Philosopher's Stone. And this involves inner alchemy visualizations and breathing techniques for pooling this energy into your cauldron area and packing it in a very specific way. And I'm writing about some very basic techniques that you can just practice for a long time and build up the energy. I also have developed a an inner alchemy bodywork discipline called PragmAlchemy that I'm rolling out on my Substack over at saulluckman.substack.com. And that's where you actually use a tool. It's a wooden block that's got rounded corners on it. It's kind of like a yoga block, but it's very polished and it's made of solid wood, and the corners and the sides are rounded, and so you can actually use this body to do myofascial decompression on yourself and to make room for all of this energy to actually come in and to penetrate deep into your tissues for greater healing and greater energetic fortification. So it's really, really cool to be able to combine body work with energy work and visualizations with the breathing that all of that also is accompanied by.
I think this will be great for my community, because a lot of people in it are practicing like energy work right now. That's I have people who send me energy all the time, and because I was dealing with a health issue and like, it was so, yeah, it's like, and I've seen the power people have, it's not even just like before I was wondering, like, I was like, I've heard about people that can heal remotely and stuff like that, but now it's to the point where I don't even question it anymore. I can feel it when someone is doing things, and I feel like people can manipulate people beneficiarily, or they can benefit people even negatively too. And I feel like the same way people can like leech energy off us and stuff like that as well, and or psychic or energetic vampires. So I think it's definitely I think, and a lot of people in my community, going back to that, are practicing energy work right now. But what's the myofascial part again? What's that mean? Like,
Oh yeah, there's a very substantial uh, subcategory of body work that's referred to as myofascial release, usually myofascial release work. It goes back to a pioneer named John Barnes, who wrote a couple of books a couple decades ago. Just fascinating stuff. Your body is basically, it has connective tissue all over the place, like a gigantic spider web. And what happens when you get dysfunctions in your physiology is this fascia, it's called fascia, it hardens and forms adhesions and it attaches to bone. So let's say you're having like a back or a hip issue and it keeps pulling down on that side, or whichever side you're on. What you can be assured of is that there's a fascial component where some aspect of that structural dysfunction relates to very strong bands of fascia, which are super powerful and strong, attaching to bone at something like 2,000 pounds per square inch of pressure or force. And that's pulling you down and keeping you from healing. So people realized decades ago that they could actually do things like foam rollers and massage pressure on the fascia, and it would lighten up, it would loosen up and give people relief. Going beyond that, people have discovered that you can actually melt those fascial adhesions using pressure. And so this Ouroboros, this block that is part of PragmAlchemy, is designed to give you a tool that you can use to push into your body or lie on it in such a way that you won't hurt yourself, but it will, with enough time, 3 minutes is a minimum, it will begin to melt those fascial adhesions. And you can literally lie down on your block having like an issue and be on your block for 3 to 5 minutes and stand up and it's just gone sometimes. It's just kind of amazing.
well, that reminds me a little bit of like structural integration or rolfing. Are you familiar with that?
Yeah, I've been Rolf to hell and back before, and it benefited me, but I think most forms of body work don't address fascial adhesions at the bone. They usually offer symptom relief, and there's nothing wrong with that. And we need more of that, please. I'm simply saying my observation has been, as someone who has been doing this work on myself for a very long time, and I also have a partner, Lee, who does it, and some other people that we are in community with, and it's just pretty obvious that you have to go all the way down to that bone level with a hard object like a piece of wood to melt those adhesions and get permanent structural shift.
Wow, that's amazing. Well, that's amazing. So, will people be able to buy this like this wooden block, or how are you gonna do this?
Yeah, it's funny. I've spent months designing it and working with a woodworker up in New England to do this block. And so I have now placed the first order of quite a few, and Lee and I are running what we're calling a jump starter campaign in January on my Substack, and we'll be selling the block. We'll be offering some other products related to that. We'll be making the first PragmAlchemy exercises available before they're made available officially and publicly to other people outside of the jump starter campaign. So people can go over to saulluckman.substack.com. That will keep you informed about the Jumpstarter campaign, which I'm hoping to kick off toward the beginning of January, and it'll run for like a month. But we'll also be, incentivizing people to you know get their hands on the block at certain tiers, kind of like a Kickstarter campaign with additional goodies or products or digital files that, of things that can actually be very helpful and enjoyable to people.
I love that. So, okay, so now back to the inner alchemy work. Is there more we need to know about, about getting out of here alive? Like, do you think it's a possibility? I guess what we should clarify when we say get out of here alive, we mean exit this matrix, you know? And do you think people can actually do that? Like, they can actually exit the matrix and maybe go somewhere else to another dimension and that's even a bigger question. That's to say, like, are the other dimensions tied to this matrix? You know, that's a huge question. I don't know. Yeah, so whatever you think, like, or wherever you want to go with that, but like, yeah, like, so would it be that we can use it to escape the matrix, and then if it's taking us to another dimension, would you think those other dimensions are also tied to the matrix? So would we have to totally escape this whatever we're in here? You know what I mean?
Yeah, those are great questions. Well, you remember I wrote this book called The World Cult and You a couple of years ago, and we interviewed about that.
Yeah.
And many ways, Get Out of Here Alive is a continuation of that line of thinking. So I do propose that we are in some kind of matrix, that it is kind of a school of hard knocks, and it's designed to catalyze our personal growth in many ways. It's as if the matrix is some aspect of our own design on some level that is like a challenging curriculum, right? And it makes us go in order to get out. We have to go in to get out. People spend so much time, we just came off this election and all the rigmarole around that, and people are constantly looking for outside saviors. I mean, no one's coming to save you. There are no white hats. Just get over it. And the only way out is in. So you have to go in to do the inner work, which involves things like very deep shadow work and that sort of thing, but also deep exploration of your own ability to project your consciousness and attention in a creative way. When you learn how to begin doing that and you begin to understand how truly multifaceted and multidimensional you are, then the answer to your question about the rest of the multiverse and its connection to the Matrix is, of course, they're connected because it's all one thing. Really, the multiverse is one gigantic being, and in the final analysis, at the very end of the road, that one gigantic being is ourselves. So the journey here is towards wholeness. I don't even like to talk about healing as much as I do about holing, becoming whole. And becoming whole involves actually uh, conceptually and energetically reconnecting with the totality of who you are across all of these different dimensions and really recuperating all that you are that you've forgotten that you are.
That's interesting. So something be like so would soul retrieval be a good technique for someone to do as something as a part of their shadow work?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, everyone's going to have a different set of things that really work for them, right? In terms of what turns them on, what excites them, what they can commit to, what they can believe in. The belief aspect is so powerful. I mean, I dissect the whole concept of belief around René Girard's work, this French academician, his work in what he called mimetic theory, and it's this idea people that people are the species, humans are the species that don't know what to believe, so they believe in what others believe. So, so they are truly influenced. So, and if you want to control the population, all you do is you set up influencers and politicians and talking heads, figureheads with their beliefs on display, and people will use their own desire to have, to be like that person and to have a belief they can believe in to adopt that entire worldview. And so you can control everybody at the drop of a hat. And is of course, exactly what's going on. When I say belief, utilizing belief, I mean that you become conscious of this power that you have, which is belief. And you choose to believe in the most outlandish things because they are your way out. And as you energize those things with your attention and your actions, with the right techniques and the right attitude, you begin to realize that what you're capable of is far greater than we've been told. And you can literally begin to perform miracles.
Because you're getting your energy body up to a certain state that like you can actually, yeah, I mean, so the people that can already do energy work are already on that path, right? You would say because they can already manipulate their energy to a point to where it's like, you know, like it's affecting other people. Would that be correct?
Well, I think everybody can do that. And I think we do that all the time. We are energy beings. And so we are inclined to give or take energy constantly. A lot of times it's taken from us, and I call that loosh. Basically, loosh is your conscious energy as it becomes unconscious and is taken from you. And ultimately, that goes up a kind of food chain till it gets to the controlling entity at the top of the matrix, at the top of the pyramid of the matrix, as it were. I call that sometimes the great parasite, like in the world cult and you. In this book, I call it the dragon. I write a lot about this. This book is very Gnostic in many ways. If one is familiar, anyone out there is familiar with some of the Gnostic concepts having to do with the Lord Archon or the Demiurge or any of that kind of thing. So I'm definitely looking at it from that window, through that lens. I would also say, however, that the a lot of people who just to sidetrack for a moment, and maybe you can get me back on to where I was, Rob, but this is important. A lot of people, when you go there and you start talking about some controlling entity feeding on people's energy and controlling their minds and this kind of thing, which I'm writing about all of that, things get really defeatist really fast. We have a kind of black pill epidemic going on right now, even in these consciousness circles, and people are really getting hammered by skepticism, cynicism, that sort of thing. But I'm here to tell you that your ability to take back your energy is your way, is the only way to defeat this great parasite, this archon. You can take back your energy from it and starve it of your energy until it leaves you alone.
That's interesting because I was having like interesting. Well, it's interesting you say that. Like I was having problems on myself, like with like entities recently, where they were doing something where they were like it honestly this was honestly felt like this was happening. Like they were like portaling up like through some space here in my studio. I couldn't see them, but like I could feel them like feeding off my energy. I could feel them like I thankfully had a friend who could help me, but like it made me think like I need to start to learn how to own my own energy. I need to learn how
Absolutely.
to, do
That's very consistent with a lot of like Toltec shamanism talks about the mud shadows or the flyers. It's I think it's another name for the archon or the archons. And these are inorganic beings, meaning they're beings from the dark sea of awareness, the world of energy that surrounds what we think of as the material world. So it's kind of, we're talking infinity, eternity here. These are beings that kind of swim into our part of the dark sea of awareness, and they can feed on people's energy. This is just the way it is. Sometimes they can actually be helpful, and that's when they're called allies. But even then, they can be really tricky to work with. So the thing you can learn to do is to not radiate energy so that they don't even know you're there. Basically, if you control your emotions and you're traveling, let's say astrally, to just to use a term I don't particularly care for, but so people will know what I'm talking about. You're out there traveling astrally, and you're leaking a lot of emotion because you haven't learned the discipline of controlling how you feel and how you emit and give away energy. Until you learn that, basically, you're just a flashing neon sign for any entity that cares to come and take a bite of you.
Wow. Wow. But you can manage your own emotions. What do you do that just by staying like even kill like even par like a par like where you don't show any emotion? But wouldn't that be I mean or, wouldn't that be hard to do? It seems like
Well, it's not the kind of thing that is like a discipline where you're being rigorous or hard on yourself. It's where you go energetically through recapitulation and inner alchemy and some other techniques that I discuss in this book. And you heal the traumas that cause the reactionary behavior.
yeah. But
So you're taking away the triggers that make you leak the energy to begin with.
Okay, I got you. I was gonna say, I'll ask you what recapitulation was because I know that Castaneda talks about recapitulation, but I was told that recapitulation meant that it was like leaving this matrix with like your thoughts, so that you then take them with you into the next life, like or wherever you go on from here, like so you don't get mind wiped, like. But is there a different term for it? And was that wrong then, or was like
Well, that's definitely not exactly what Castaneda is saying. That may be someone's opinion. The only way I know to leave this place without getting mind wiped is to get out of here alive. So that's what I'm writing about.
yeah,
Otherwise, there's no getting out of here alive. Even in Castaneda's work, they talk about using recapitulation as one of a variety of tools to heal your energy wounds and build up your energy enough, your power, your personal power, so that at the moment of your death, you can actually ignite what they call the fire from within and step into a new body and sail out across the dark sea of awareness past the force known as the eagle or the great eagle or the Senteotl in one lineage of Toltec shamanism. You fly past it with your consciousness intact. And this is very similar to the concept of alchemists, where you step into your dream body and then you can travel powered up by your philosopher's stone, which has basically become like a nuclear generator in your body that's just radiating energy, but not the kind of energy that would be visible to someone outside of your body. It's just the kind of internally housed energy that powers your explorations in infinity.
oh, I love that. That's amazing. Yeah, it's amazing. So yes, is there anything else we need to know before we um, yeah, I'm trying to think of what question to ask you, but maybe there might be something else you want to cover regarding the book, like
Yeah, well, the book is obviously the book is the title is a reference to a Doors song, so
yeah,
it
no one
starts
here gets out alive. I love that
right.
song.
Right. So that's a line from 5 to 1.
Yeah, 5 to 1. Yeah, yeah. Now it's come back to my mind. I remember that now. You know what's so interesting? I just had Paul Wild on my show, and he talked about I would have to go back. See, I do so many shows that I can't remember stuff, man. But like, I had a show with Paul Wild, the writer. He writes for Inner Traditions, and he was talking about like the esoteric side or the occult side of Jim Morrison, which was really interesting to talk about. But yeah,
Fascinating that you say that because I just reviewed another Inner Traditions writer. Do you know Miguel Conner over at Aeon Byte?
yeah, I love him. I have him on
So
often.
he has a new book coming out called The Occult Elvis. It's being published through Inner Traditions. And it's funny because Inner Traditions used three of my paintings on books by Itzhak Beery on shamanism. So there's a lot of inner traditions in this discussion all of a sudden. But
Yeah, you
so
should be a writer for Inner Traditions.
I just like self-publishing. I just like doing my own thing. I mean, it's just where I am. But I mean, yeah, I could probably go down that road. But so they wanted me. Miguel had asked if I wanted review the book so that they could give my review to Inner Traditions, and maybe they would use it on their Amazon page or the inside the book or something like that, as an editorial review. And it was just fascinating because it was really the esoteric and occult Elvis, and I was aware of some of the esoteric and occult Jim Morrison, of course. And it's really funny because my book, Get Out of Here Alive, and the occult Elvis by Miguel are like, twin flames. They are so similar in certain ways. We didn't even know we were both writing these books. We're publishing them at almost the same time. My book will be officially published in March. His comes out in April. It's just really, really funny. I was reading his book going, you got to be shitting me, because he gets into like egregores and tulpas and all these mental constructs. And I write, copiously about exactly the same material and Get Out of Here Alive.
That's so cool. That's so cool. Yeah, I'd like to read it for free. Or not for free, but I mean for review. If you want me to review, or however, I'll buy it.
I'd be thrilled.
I'll
Yeah. No,
buy it
no,
in
that's
advance.
what I want. I don't want anybody to give me any money for this book at this stage. I want people to just go download a review copy. You can go to saulluckman.substack.com, and you'll find right there on the that front page of my Substack. It's like Get Out of Here Live. You can see, download your free review copy. Just follow the link, and it's just you'll be able to download a Kindle version of the book, and then you are agreeing to review it when the book comes out on March 20th, which is the spring equinox. Um, and the goal is to get as many people reviewing it as in the first month as possible, because that's really how you get into the algorithm and make the book more successful. So I'm really wanting people to be empowered by this, and for it to reach a lot of people that otherwise would just never know about it, because I think what I'm sharing is so impactful and life changing that it's hard to do it justice in a little interview like this. You have to kind of read the book, digest what I'm talking about, and then start experiencing some of the pragmatic aspects of the book yourself, whether that's not doing certain things that are taking away your energy or doing certain things to cultivate your energy.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, I love this. Well, maybe I was thinking maybe I could read the book and then maybe we could. I'll put this out and then try to get you some people to read the book and then maybe we could reconvene like when the book comes out. Like I can read the book and then we can do an interview when the book comes out and I'd be more well versed on the book if that would if that
Oh, it
would
would
be.
be fun. It would be fun. And if you wanted to, if you wanted me to cut you a deal on an Ouroboros or something so you could experience that and, get into the PragmAlchemy or whatever, that's optional. Of course, you don't have to do that to do the book. But if you're interested in that and you had, stuff you wanted to do in terms of body work to work on yourself, that could be a tool for you.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, I'll think about that. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, this sounds awesome. Yeah, and yeah, this was awesome. So how do people do? They just go to saulluckman.substack.com and
Yep.
and they can get a free copy of the book and then and read it and then leave a review on when it comes out during the spring equinox.
Exactly, exactly. And it's not a terribly long read. It's about 50,000 words, so it's a little over 200 pages. So I would call it a medium length book. It's not particularly long, and it's not particularly scholarly. I mean, if people out there have read, say, Potentiate Your DNA, which is another one of my books, that's a lot more scientific and academic in some ways. This one is a little more colloquial, a little more reader friendly, I would say.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I'm looking forward to reading it. And yeah, and is there anything else you want to tell anybody before we finish up, or anything else you want to promote, or anything like that?
I think I promoted quite a bit. I really appreciate you having me on. And I guess my closing thoughts on this would be to encourage people to simply not judge this or anything else for that matter without doing their best to have some practical experience of it. It's very hard to understand some of these concepts without beginning to feel and experience the energy. And when you do, it begins to shift your consciousness and your awareness. So I would simply say to people, don't knock it till you try it. If you don't believe in the possibility of living forever, that's fine, but don't discount your ability to live longer and better when you have more energy, because that's real. That's absolutely real. So, just go for it and let this be a stepping stone to a new you, because it really can be.
I agree. Wow. Well, and I'll be in touch. And thank you so much, Solid. I'll post this tonight.
Okay, I appreciate it, Rob.
All right. Thank you. Have a good night and have a good holiday.
Yeah, you too. Happy Thanksgiving and happy holidays in general.
All right. Thank you. Have a good night.